When I first met with the ideas that Sharp was pushing about pacifism and non-violentism, I had a strange reaction to it. And I can summarize the reaction in 4 words. The first one was, I said to myself, how interesting, right? It is interesting. The second reaction was, come on, where's my reaction? How ridiculous. I couldn't make sense out of what I was thinking. And I was motivated to turn my nonsense into sense by doing a kind of a critique of his theory. Also, I needed a paper for this conference, of course, so I was motivated to clear my head about these things. So I'm trying to put these ideas together, or eliminate them, change them. What I decided to do is not only look at his theory, but look at it against the background of just war theory. You'll see why later, right? So in the background is just war theory, and in the foreground is Sharp's theory, or theories, however you want to call it. I say that what I'm doing is a little bit like choosing cars. If you had a choice between a fairly new model, unknown model, a Hyundai Genesis, which is an upmarket car, and between that and a tried and true 500 series BMW, you'd ask questions like, you know, how many horses does each car have? What's the acceleration? How safe are they? How many electronic gadgets are there? Are they useful? Things like that. Well, I want to do the same thing with Sharp's theory. I want to ask questions like, does Sharp's theory in some places say the same thing as the just war theory people do? If they differ, where do they differ? And if they do differ, which one gets the best of the argument about the difference, all right? So I start there making a comparison, and it's a comparison, I must add, that does not discuss Walzer or Reitz, does not discuss Kant or Christine Korsgaard and that kind of stuff. It doesn't discuss virtue theory. Rather, I look at the theory that Sharp presents in terms of whether it works or not. And I do it, you'll see why, again, shortly. So I do it in a very practical, non-theoretical way. Okay. They both agree about the horribleness of war, obviously. But of course, the military ethics people say, war is horrible, therefore we must do everything we can to constrain it. Whereas Sharp is going to say, yes, war is horrible, but we must do everything that we can to eliminate it, to minimize it. We'll see there's more sharing down the line. To begin then, when you start reading his writing, I need the book, I'll get them when the time comes, you find that he has a lot of books, a lot of pamphlets. They divide into 2 different subjects, really. He's interested in pacifism or non-violentism. He's mostly interested in the notion of non-violentism. He prefers that over pacifism. He divides his work into non-violentism with respect to within a country, international problems. And then the second group are international problems, 2 different subject matters for him. He has in effect, two theories about, we have a theory for each of these fields. I want to start working with number 1 first, and then we'll move to 2 when I'm done with 1. Begin with 1, okay. Now, internationally, the problems have to do with a country that's completely dysfunctional, one that's corrupt, or one that's run by dictators. He's mostly concerned with that latter. Most of his material has to do with talking about dictators and how we can eliminate those bad guys. And one of his principles that develop in his manuals and his books is that if you have an enemy, like the dictators, it's important, like Sun Tzu would say in the old Chinese, it's important to study your enemy. So it's important, he thinks, to understand what a dictatorship is, what are its strengths, and what are its weaknesses, right? And he argues that a dictatorship is not a dictator. A dictator is not somebody who is willful and strong and on his own can create a dictatorship. He can't do that. He may be strong, he may be willful, but he needs to make an alliance with somebody or some group. For example, if I wanted to be a dictator, I might make an alliance with a military group, all right? And what I will do with a military group is that I will favor them with respect to money, gifts, housing, all that kind of stuff. And they will see after a while that I am the one who's giving them these good things, and they will be loyal to me. So I, as a dictator, gain strength because I'm feeding money, rewards, other rewards to these people. Now, the